Welcome back, fellow spy nerds, to the Spies Like Us podcast, the podcast where we talk about the representation of tradecraft on screens, large and small. I'm Todd. With me, as always, is David.
What up?
David, what do we got today?
We've got episode 3 and 4 of Slough Horses, starring Gary Oldman.
Apple TV production has sixth episode. It's a 6-episode miniseries. The 6th episode did just come out. We'll come back and handle episodes 5 and 6 next week. Also got, of course, Jonathan Pryce in here, and a couple other people that we know from other movies. There's this one Scottish guy from, or other TV series. But yeah, episode 2 left us with the journalist Hobden. And by the way, I don't think we're gonna go and review like what the show's about. You should check back with previous week to catch up on that. But where we left off, River Cartwright and I don't remember her name. Sid. Yeah. Had gone to journalist Hobden's house to actually see what is actually on his laptop that he's so worried about, and trying to get the word out about. And a masked man shows up, or a masked man is actually there to kill the journalist, and they intervene, and it looks like Sid is shot. At the time, I was guessing dead, but it looks like she's going to linger on through in the emergency room through these couple of episodes. And
like, she's not well, but she's like alive.
She's not well. She's not conscious.
Yeah. She's pretty much in a coma. Yeah.
Sure. So, I forget exactly where this episode picks up. In my synopsis notes, it says she's taken to the hospital by MI5 security operatives who detain Cartwright, but I don't remember seeing that happen. I think he just wakes up in a weird room or something. You wanna tell us how this episode starts out, or take?
I think you're right. I think he was basically detained and being watched, and he ends up having to get broken out by Lamb. I think that's just the kind of carryover from the previous episode. But I think the actual episode starts out with I don't remember their names. Min, I think, is the guy.
Oh, right. Yeah. Min and Louisa.
Louisa, that's right. We talked last time about how they don't like that pub quiz guy that always wants to go out, and they kind of have their own drink together, and I guess Min is getting a divorce. So they kind of hit it off and end up going back to Slough House to make out and carry on the rest of the night together because I guess they got liquor there. And that's when masked man they hear noises and they discover a masked man and they get attacked. Through the tussle, the masked man falls down the stairs and breaks his neck, only to find it was Moody the whole time. And I guess last week we had talked about his meeting with Diane Tavner, that she wanted him to do some things. And one of those things was to remove the bug he planted. So I think among the many things he was supposed to do at Slough House, he was in the process of cleaning up after himself, and they walked in.
Right. So, I mean, and we can infer that he was the guy that attacked Cartwright and Sid.
Correct. And that's actually what they end up determining later. And that's kind of I think that's what the show wants you to think right off the bat, and then it's kind of confirmed later. In fact, they have a phone call from Tavner. They either call her back, being the only number that's called that phone, or she calls the phone and they answer. But that's how they realize Moody's been working with Tavner.
Right. Do you think it's smart? I was wondering, for Moody to wear his full, I don't know, he's wearing combat gear and a mask, the same that he was wearing at the reporter's place. Kind of wondered why he's still in gear when he comes to the office. He's not mean, he's not expecting anybody to be there. But if someone was there, I don't know. What do you think? Like, maybe could it have been smarter to just say it's Moody? It's me, Moody. I work here.
Well, since there are cameras, I'd be concerned of walking into Lamb's place, especially
Oh,
since Lamb lives there, right? I
right.
think everybody believes he lives there, whether he does or he doesn't. We're still not sure, but that's probably why he's coming in masked.
Oh, this is our first indication that Lamb ever leaves the office.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't think about cameras, so yeah, that makes sense. Um, so yeah,
And we know there are cameras because what's his name? Ho. I think his name is Ho, the hacker guy.
Yeah.
Anytime you see his computers, there's like 5 or 6 cameras watching that are in the office, I believe.
Right. So Moody's not only there to clean up after himself, he's there to grab Lamb's book it money. Like he told
Yeah.
God damn it, what's her name?
Tavener.
There's so many characters. He told Tavener he knew all about all the details of Lamb's get out of Dodge emergency plan. And so he's also pocketing that cash, presumably to appropriate it for his own getaway plan.
Mm-hmm.
So he's there on the floor. What is that now? And then Lamb shows up eventually too, and they all kind of put things together. What all do we know at this point from the perspective of, let's say, from the perspective of Lamb?
Well, at this point, I think he's surprised to see Moody there. He by the way, the first thing he does when he discovers Min and Louisa kind of hooking up, he makes some really sharp quip about this can't be the best place for you to go for this. But I have this in my notes. I think this might be one of my favorite moments of the whole show. When he notices Moody dead on the floor, he just sighs. Like it was the most perfect like facial expression from Oldman and just like perfect sigh. You know what I mean? And he like makes it like he clearly knows they weren't there to kill Moody, and he makes a quip. He was like, we know we weren't trying to kill him because if you were, he wouldn't be dead. So, but this is, I think, the first time we get to see like the elite skill that Lamb has. Like it's kind of rumored and described, because Tavener's like talking to Moody. He's just like, don't forget the guy you're watching like threw himself in the shit and then survived. So we actually get to witness him with his wheels turning, kind of put all the pieces together and then set up a plan. And then so he realizes he picks up the phone and either calls Tavener or she calls, but when he realizes it's Tavener is the one that Moody's working for, he's like, we need to talk. So he sets up a meeting with her. He also tries to figure out how they're going to clean up. But before he like does anything, he kind of like goes over stuff in his head. He doesn't really tell you what he's thinking, but you could tell like, the light's on, right? And then we get to see that unfold following his meeting with Tavener. And I don't know. I really like how gritty and grungy and like crappy this whole team is. And then you see Lamb, like, even though he kind of, he's got holes in his socks and he like lives at his office and is just kind of a lush. He really does have that veteran skill. And despite being not knowing that Moody bugged him, type of thing, you would be like, wow, this guy's useless. But no, you get to see him in action and it was really cool.
Sure. So when Lamb comes back to Slough House, and I guess, like, I mean, maybe the only reason he was even away was to get Cartwright out of the hospital. How did he know Cartwright was in the hospital? How did he know Cartwright had been nabbed?
Oh, didn't he say he's in, he said it. Because Cartwright's like, how did you know I was here? I think it was because he knew that what the hell is the name of their building? Regent's Park. He was like all of Regent's Park's knows, so I know. And I came to make sure that. Well, I was keeping. I think he said I was keeping tabs on you to make sure you weren't doing anything as stupid that you did. And so, in keeping tabs on him, he was able to determine what had happened and found the hospital they were at. Right?
Right.
Yeah.
But what's his motivation for rescuing Cartwright? And also, where did Cartwright go right after that? Like, why isn't he still with Lamb? I forget.
Why he went after Cartwright?
Yeah. I
Well, they're
mean,
gonna
no.
grill. Regent's Park is gonna grill him. And remember when he's driving Cartwright back to Slough House, he was like, "I'm your commander. I'm gonna give you your debrief." But um, Regent's Park is gonna plan on picking up Cartwright to either pin it on Slough House as a complete failure, or grill him or whatever. So it behooves Lamb for his own survival as well as survival is his losers, as he calls them, to get to Cartwright first, right? That's kind of that's how I clocked it. I'm not sure if that makes sense.
Okay. I guess I'm still trying to piece it into the bigger puzzle of, like, there's something special about Cartwright in this whole situation that we're not being told, but keeps getting hinted at. Really the big twist at the end of episode 2, I think, was finding out that Sid wasn't assigned to Slough House as punishment. She was assigned there to keep tabs on Cartwright.
Yeah.
And then there's a question of how much Lamb knows about that. And maybe to briefly skip to the very end of episode 4 is when Cartwright puts in, at least in his own head, something he's figured out is like that one time where he tailed Taverner, and there's like a myth about it or something. That he's realizing, like, that's some kind of connection when he has that memory of remembering that might be important. He's like, oh shit, and then he suddenly is fucking running somewhere. We don't know why yet. So, like, we don't know. I guess by that, like, well, we know Taverner has a special interest in Cartwright, and that's why Sid was sent there. We don't know if Lamb was read in on Taverner's special interest in Cartwright.
I would say no, because I think Cartwright tells him, but yeah, he could be pretending not to know, I guess.
Right. And then they'd have to make up some story to sell to Lamb about, like, what, like, Lamb would have to think that there's some reason Sid was assigned there other than to keep tabs on him.
Yeah.
Okay. You said you've seen the whole show, so
I have. I'm just trying to hold in the big twist because you.
okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much we want to discuss. I know what is a spoiler for 3 and 4, but I'm not quite sure if you want to get into one of the big twists of 3 and 4
fine.
quite yet.
Just tell me. It sounds like you're telling me, though, it doesn't factor into Lamb's rescue of Cartwright. You said,
big twist? No. Yeah, no. I think Lamb is rescuing Cartwright specifically to keep him away from Regent's Park. That way he can continue. Like, I think it's a containment move, as well as, like, like as much of a dick Lamb is to everybody at Slough House. He says they're a bunch of losers, but they're my loser. He feels like a very, very intense responsibility for their well-being on top of his own survival, so to speak.
right.
So I think it behooves him, just from his days in the Cold War at Berlin, to look out for his his sheep, so to speak. Like tend to the flock. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Just because of how bad shit can get. So, but yeah, no, I don't think there's a him picking up Cartwright. I don't think is relevant to, like, some of the bigger twists.
There is a I think he's also, like, when occasion arises, I think he's not obviously not shy about, like, teaching super harsh lessons. Like, he criticizes Cartwright for riding in the ambulance with Sid, which makes sense to me. Yeah, my thinking, because that that's how they got Cartwright, obviously.
Yeah.
But also if something has gone wrong in the mission, and Cartwright's like, what the fuck? You wouldn't have done? You would have just left her? And he's like, fuck yeah. Because honestly, you're not contributing anything except
Right.
emotional support to a dying woman. Which yeah, that's kind of important, but also in the big game, like you gotta separate yourself. You gotta actually say what's being accomplished here. And right here, all that's being accomplished is now you're flagged as having been there.
Right.
And if you hadn't ridden in the ambulance, everything's, Sid still would have got to the hospital with or without you. But, we would be able to we would have more latitude in telling different stories about what happened if and when we need to.
Yeah.
I think it was like hours later or something. A significant amount of time passed before, I forget exactly why I wrote this note, but some time has passed when they do something with Moody's gun, and I was like, fucking hey, like, why isn't this thing in a plastic bag at this point? Yeah. I think I was like watching someone pick it up and hand it to Lamb and have Lamb hand it to someone else, and I'm like, guys, fingerprints. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. It is registered under Regent's Park, so it would not look good, And it is London, so I'm sure they're wearing gloves, right? I think they're generally wearing gloves.
I think, I don't remember the scene precisely right now, but I think I would have been less freaked. I think I wouldn't have written it down if they were wearing gloves.
Oh, yeah.
They were barehanded, just passing the gun around, right, in a way that annoyed me. When did this happen? Because I just have the note, I'm going Moscow rules.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Oh, okay. That's after he talks to Taverner. So I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait on that. I think now is when we should talk about Larry, Moe, and Curly and Zeppo. Are you aware that those are the guys' names? The kidnapper guys?
No, that's hilarious.
They never say it in the show, but it's in the wiki synopses, and also you can see it in the credits.
Oh my god, that's hilarious! So Larry, Curly, Moe, and who?
Zeppo is the other one. So for reference, it's Moe is our mole guy, our super serious. If Christina Ricci was a guy, and also a fucking rabid anti-Islamist. And it's Curly is the guy who gets beheaded at the end of this episode. So Larry and Zeppo are the other guys in the car that are freaked out by what Moe's going.
Wait,
Moe is
who gets beheaded?
Curly.
Curly gets beheaded. All right.
Pretty sure. I hope I'm not fucking this up.
No, and that's at the end of episode 4?
Oh, no. Okay, no, I did flip it. I got it straight now. It's Moe is the guy who gets killed. Curly is our guy.
The guy who cuts. Okay, good. Because, episode 3, this really bugs me. I hate when shows do this, but they led us to believe that Curly is the inside guy for Taverner. And at the end of episode 3, leading into episode 4, we discover one of the big twists of this story is that Moe was actually the inside guy and Curly was actually contacting Simmons. And I don't know if we talked about Simmons yet, but he's like the head of a psycho right-wing group that is involved with the Sons of Albion, who's also connected to that senator guy that Hobner keeps trying to reach out to and want to talk to him.
Right. So let's just talk about. I just want to talk about these this group of dudes. Um, I'll lay the table real quick, and then I want to ask what bugged you about this, because I thought this was freaking amazing.
Yeah.
We have these four kidnapper dudes, and we've been told that one of them is Taverner's Mole, and we see one of the kidnappers sending secret messages to someone. So we just, as an audience, assume like, oh, that's Taverner's Mole.
Right.
But then, surprise, there were two moles in the operation.
I don't know if I would call Curly a mole.
Okay.
He was in contact with Simmons, but he was hiding a cell phone, and I think it's so they couldn't get traced. So he would only pull out the phone, but they didn't know he was talking to Simmons. So he kind of is a mole, but he's not like a mole against them. He's like a mole with them.
He's an anti-mole.
Oh, yeah. We'll go with it.
So maybe when he got sent, or maybe when he got, he gets the information that there is a mole, maybe he doesn't know which one of them it is at first.
Yeah. Right.
Because if he did, maybe he would have acted sooner. Right. But for some reason, he is sending communications out. Presumably, once we have that taste, we can presume he's secretly getting communications in. We don't know what those instructions are, what that information is. But I thought that the misdirect on Curly was really fantastic and fun. You seemed like a minute ago, you said there's something about the situation that really bugged you. Can you tell me what that is?
Yeah, it really... I don't like when shows trick the audience, like blatantly tricked. Like when, I like when the audience is tricked through, like, here's a lot of different, like, you watch a really good murder mystery. There's a lot of characters and everybody has a good motive, you have to really pay attention. But when a show is like giving you a red herring that blatant, like, hey, there's a mole. Here's the guy talking to someone. It must be him that's the mole. They're like, hey, actually, we tricked you. There was no mole. Like, he wasn't the mole. He's his other mole. I like the fact that there's two quote-unquote moles in the group. I just didn't like... I didn't feel like it was necessary for that trick. I didn't think it really accomplished anything other than like, oh, ha, ha, ha. You got tricked.
So let me ask. So I actually did like it. So I want to ask you. There's a scene somewhere in this couple episodes. I think it's like late in 4 or something, where they're all trying to book it. Where they do a very strong misdirect, where we see Ho in his apartment. I mean, at first it looks like he's watching homoerotic porn, but then it turns out he's actually just jacking off to photoshopping his own face onto...
Oh no, he was setting up dating profiles.
Oh, okay.
And putting his face on like buff dudes. But yeah, it does look like he's clearly like got some issues, and he's like super into himself.
Right. But they do the big Silence of the Lambs misdirect there, where like someone's knocking on his door, and we can see someone knocking on his door, or we can see someone knocking on a door, and then we see him getting up to answer a door, and then when he opens the door, it turns out they're 2 different doors.
Oh yeah, so that kind of a trick I like. You know what I mean? Which you're right. Yeah, this one I really liked, because they do this often in stuff where you think, and they set up the tension. Oh, they're gonna get him, and then it turns out, oh no, they got the wrong house.
That's why I called it the Silence of the... Do you remember that from Silence of the Lambs?
Yeah. No, that was great.
I will forever call that the Silence of the Lambs door knocking trick.
Yeah.
Personally.
That was great.
Okay, so that's cool with you. All right.
Oh, well, speaking of that, no, I have a note about that. Okay. So basically, Ho being a super hacker basically changed all his records so that his address Regent Park doesn't have his real address.
Uh-huh.
So the dog that Regent Park sends goes to the wrong address and beats up this guy that has nothing to do with anything. But Cartwright gets to Ho's actual address, and I was like, "How the hell did you find me?" He's like, "Lamb had your address." He's like, "How the hell did Lamb have my address?" He's like, "He followed you home." He's like, "When the fuck?" And this isn't the only time we're gonna get this from Ho, but I wanted to point out the idea that if you focus too much on tech intelligence and lose track of like real hardcore human intelligence, like like in any discipline, the fundamentals never go away. I don't care how much technology changes or times change. The fundamentals will stay the same from now until forever. You know what I mean? And like the fact that he's so into himself and how good he is at hacking that he didn't even have basic counter surveillance to where like fucking Lamb, this like old dog, just like follows him home, like with basic like human intelligence surveillance, like makes me so happy. And this becomes a running theme later. So believe me, this is not the only time, but this happened to us in World War II because we focused so much on signals intelligence that we ended up taking away funding from like human intelligence and like just basic raw like old school fundamental intelligence, and we had to catch back up throughout like a lot of the Cold War because we were a little bit behind because we were only like, oh, we just got to pick up radio signals and we're gonna win every time, you know what I mean, type of thing. And so I really liked this moment a lot. Sorry for that side note. I just had to point that one out.
That's all right. But didn't Cartwright also like identify Ho's apartment by the fact that he was playing like this annoyingly loud music?
Yeah, he was playing like jungle. Yeah, he was playing like really old school jungle, like loud as shit.
Yeah, that's my target.
Yeah.
Oh right, so it is in episode 3 then where we do have a park bench. I think.
Yes, we do.
This qualifies, right? A canal bench.
Yeah, but like I would call that like a park, right? It's a public space.
I mean,
with a bench.
They're kind of using it, I mean, it's just they're not being observed there or whatever. But right. I'm going to count it. it. So 2 park bench scenes in this show already.
Yeah,
love it. And that is Taverner and Lamb meeting, and who called the meeting? I don't
well, remember. When they found the phone on Moody, that's when Lamb demanded a meeting from Taverner.
He's got 2 phones on him, and one of them only has 1 phone number. Huh.
And it goes to Taverner.
Yeah. Let's ring that up. And again, they are on a first name basis. They do know each other quite well. They have a past and a history, and it's a really good scene, I think, here with kind of like some verbal knives being flashed, threatened like toward each other. Ultimately, Taverner is selling Lamb the story that like this was all a setup, like basically we were like Mo was my guy, and Mo was clearly like looked like the ringleader of the group, right?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it looked like he had especially picked somewhat incompetent patsies. And the whole idea always was that the Islamic kid was going to get rescued.
Right.
Hassan. And it was a whole, like, psyops thing.
Yeah, this is where we discover probably the biggest twist. But Taverner planned this whole thing. The Sons of Albion are a real group.
Mm-hmm.
And our guy Mo, who's the mole, is involved to make sure things don't go awry. And the idea is that with this false flag, what were they going to do with that? I just realized, wait, what's the motivation of the false flag? Was it to make the number one desk look really good?
It's to improve. I think it's to
Oh,
drastically
that's
improve
right.
relations with
Relations with
Pakistan.
Pakistan. That's right. That's right. That one, they'll get clout for, oh, we stopped this huge hostage situation. So that's going to look good for the department, especially for her boss,
But let's
who's
not forget that Hassan is not just a random kid. He's
right.
actually.
He's the nephew of Pakistani military intelligence. So
Mm-hmm.
by rescuing him, they're gonna get like even the slightest of sway with Pakistan. That's right. Man, that's a big one. And then of course Lamb is like, really? All of this for that? What if they actually kill him? And she's like, well, that's why our guy is there. Which clearly doesn't play out as well as she planned.
Right. So as far as I mean, taking her at her word, that's the plan.
Right.
Now that it's gone, or wait, how has it gone sideways so far?
It hasn't
Uh,
gone sideways yet from when we're talking about. The only thing that's gone sideways that's become a problem and why she's having Slough House watch Hobner, or is it Hobden? Sorry. Hobden accident she even admits it was bad tradecraft on my part. She was talking to, I guess, her husband or somebody, and Hobden happened to overhear the conversation, and he overheard the plan for the false flag operation, which is why Hobden's been calling all these right-wing news outlets and all of this stuff to get them to realize, hey, by the way, you know, the MI5 is planning this fucking false flag operation and people are going to die. And because the Sons of Albion are involved, those guys are going to get killed in the raid. So one, he's trying to fuck over the government that fucked him over, but he's also trying to like prevent his psycho racist brothers from being murdered. You know what I mean?
I gotta slow
So
you down. I gotta slow you down there though for a moment. Like,
uh,
if okay, so if Hobden knows everything about her plan, then he would know that actually no one's gonna get hurt.
no,
Just
no, no.
some.
The Sons of Albion are going to get shot in the raid.
Okay.
She already knows where it is. And by the way, I have a mark like mad plus spy points for her really pretending to look to try and find the bad guys. Um, I wanted to give her like mad werewolf points, I guess, for that one.
Oh, right.
Because she's really selling it. But when she reveals the plan to Lamb, the idea is that she already knows the house they're at. She wants Lamb to go knock on the door. Mo's going to see Lamb's face because I guess Lamb is like a celebrity in the intelligence world. And that's going to be his cue to secure the hostage. And the raid will happen within like so much time. And the Sons of Albion will be slaughtered, shot on sight. And our inside guy on the hostage will get away like healthy and scot free, which is not what happens.
Right. Now, on the surface, like now I'm going to put myself in the mind of Lamb. I'm going to hear all this, and inside I'm saying bullshit.
Yeah.
There's a reason you are asking me to do this, to be the one that knocks on the door, which doesn't add up in my head.
Right.
And I'm not sure. I know he puts up some resistance. I'm not sure he actually calls her out on that kind of bullshit. Like, I mean, this absolutely looks like you're, setting me up for something.
Well, he does point that out, and he's basically, fuck you, I'm not going to do it. And they basically have like a battle of the wits where they basically lay out what they would do if they don't do what they either one asks. So they kind of have dirt on each other, right? Type of thing. And,
Totally.
And they just start playing instead of executing the battle, you know what I mean? It'd be like two generals sitting down before a battle and being like, hey, let's try and work this out. Because if we go to battle, I'm going to do this. And the other general goes, well, if we go to battle, I'm going to do this. And then the other one's, well, I'm going to do this. And it just ends up in a lot of bloodshed. So let's just try and figure this out. And that's kind of what they do. I don't remember the exact, because it's a lot. They're just like dumping dirt on each other.
Or I'm thinking like like if two chess players sat down and one of them made like one move and the other made another move, and then instead of playing out the game, they just had a conversation
Yeah.
about like, well, I know if I do this, then you're going to do this. And if I do that, and then you'll do this and blah, blah, and then you'll do that. And then just instead of playing the game, they just work out the entire rest of the game in their heads
Yeah.
or in conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. You'll see this sometimes in martial arts movies where two masters face off and they don't fight and they just like have the fight in their heads and then they just walk away type of thing. I've seen that like,
Right.
yeah, yeah, but I like your chess match one. Like we'll make one move each and then we'll play out the rest of the game in a conversation.
Ultimately, it's the fact that she's got something on him related to Standish. Standish being like our, kind of an Alice analog.
Yeah.
If if our audience remembers the character from the Ipcress File movie and television show.
Only she's not a
office
badass.
administrator.
She's kind of like a really timid but very capable assistant.
She gets her moment.
Yeah, she does. She does get her moments, but she's not like a German Nazi killing machine that's just an old lady now. She's kind of got like this. She takes all of like Lamb's abusive like comments and even like him pouring her a drink, and she's like an alcoholic.
Oh yeah, totally different. I mean, different character, but someone. I mean, she's got. I mean, she wouldn't be at Slough House if all her skills were only pouring coffee and pulling paperwork out of desks and putting it on her bosses. Like she's, if that's all you needed, I don't think you need to send them. You don't need to send Standish to Slough House. I think like the idea behind here is somehow like Slough House is like this purgatory that like eventually there's a promise that you can get out of and get back to your career eventually. Right. Of course, she's the oldest of the bunch. I guess she seems like maybe a contemporary of Gary Oldman's character, maybe older. So maybe she's not got that much of a career to come back to, but
right. Well, she was married to this guy Charles that killed himself or something. There's a history with Lamb and Standish and this guy Charles that was her husband. Mm-hmm. And I'm guessing she's in Slough House because she's an alcoholic, but I don't know.
Right, but what I'm saying is like I think she's also not just in Slough House. Like you don't just say like, oh, at MI5 we have this one alcoholic secretary. Let's send her to Slough House. No, you just fire that person. Right. Like I think you only send someone to Slough House if they're like, hey, maybe someday if they put in their time, they're 6, 8, 10, 12 years or whatever.
Yeah.
Eventually they're redeemable. There's something useful there. So I like to think that Standish has some kind of set of skills, or at least a set of stones.
Yeah.
Which she shows off not as amazingly as Alice in the Ipcress File, but it's still, when she does, like it further cements my total desire to see the Alice show.
Yeah.
I want that so bad right now.
Yeah.
That's one of my big takeaways from seeing this show is like, this is further evidence that like, this kind of character would be just a great like centerpiece character.
Oh yeah.
For some kind of spy story, that I would be 100% on board with. So, but the point is that you gonna remind me of her name again, Diana.
Oh, Tavner.
That's her final leverage. That for some reason he can't resist. Like, okay, I'll do it. But he also has his like, counters, like his I'll accept your offer, but you're also throwing this and this and this into it.
Yeah.
Which is like, all the files, and also like immunity for all my fuck ups. Like you said, like they might be losers, but they're my losers,
right?
Which is something he's willing to admit to her. His protective nature over his little stable of slow horses, but he'll never let them know.
Right? Yeah. Right? No. Not at all. I don't think he ever shows any affection to any of them.
Yeah. He's he does not waver, and he doesn't show any weakness or any sign of affection whatsoever, which is kind of fun. I think in the final analysis, when we get to it on the show, I'm going to call that a little bit fantastical, but I do love it. It's going to be a huge plus in my star rating for the show. Mm-hmm. Might be a slight minus on my actual Tradecraft park bench rating for the show, but we'll get there next episode. For right now, I did want to mention, okay, so now that he's on the case, he's going to do it. Mm-hmm. I forget who it is. Someone says, like, are you taking a gun? He's like, yeah, I'm fucking going Moscow rules now. Which, again, quick callback to our friend Stock. Did I finally get it right on the first try?
Oh, yeah, Stock.
Yeah. Colonel Stock, Moscow rules. Bring a fucking gun.
Yeah.
Moscow rules say if you don't bring gun, you're not playing like serious.
Yeah.
Seriously.
I'm insulted. You didn't bring a gun. Am I not a threat?
Exactly. All right. So then but I guess they don't get the knock they were expecting. Instead they find a kind of a slaughterhouse. They find a super bad situation. This is what in a Fiasco movie, or in the rules of the game of Fiasco, has been described to me as this is the tilt. This is the tilt. This is the super surprising thing. This is the thing that changes everything when they find not the head they were expecting, but a different guy's head.
Yeah.
And we've already talked about like why it's that guy whose head is on the table.
Yeah.
Do you have any issues with the fact that Curly could, like, that he did this?
Not that he did it, but I don't think it's possible to clean cut off a head like that with an axe. I don't think it's. I don't know. But I guess in a movie you think, oh, they're gonna chop his head off with an axe. But I don't buy that. But the idea is that he had been corresponding with Simmons, who is also talking to James Webb, who is now talking to Hobden. And so Hobden relayed the information to Simmons that there's a traitor, and our boy Curly, or not our boy, but the psycho kid Curly, I guess deduced which one it was, and then he just like cuts his head off and takes over the whole operation, which fucks a lot of shit up. So when Lamb and our slow horses discover the decapitated mole, and the 3 sons of Albion and the hostage missing, immediately Lamb goes into like decontamination mode, and we're going dark, guys, because they're going to try and pin this on us, which I don't think that was Taverner's plan. I think Taverner's plan was everything was going to go smooth and it would work out.
Right.
And now that
she didn't know about Curly.
Right. Then he was talking to Simmons, right? And so now that everything's gone to shit, her op is fucked. She's not going to take the blame or let, the first desk take the blame. So she's going to put it on the slow horses that they were working with Mo the whole time, that they had met together and blah, blah, blah. And they were involved in this whole thing themselves. And so she's going to try and like throw them under the bus for this whole fuck up because they're already fuck ups anyway. You know what? They're easy targets, you know?
So that's what I was talking about, like initially, in our last episode where, I felt like the very easy twist would be like, oh, the whole reason she ran this operation through Slough House was so that she could pin it on them. And that would have been very disappointing to me. But now, it's gotten twistier than that. Like, however, and I'll accept that, totally accept that. If that wasn't the initial plan, but now it's the plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
I think they put the slow horses on Hobden mainly because he was kind of a has-been type of thing, and if anything went wrong, she could always throw them under the bus. I think that was always kind of her, like, emergency exit plan. Was to kind of distance herself from the op. But as soon as things went really south, she was like, "Oh yeah, I'm pinning this on them. Like, Slough House is going down for this. There's no way I'm going down for this," type of thing.
Right. So, episode 4, I think, just like things unfold, information is being doled out to the audience and to different characters, but essentially, throw in anything that I'm missing here. But I think episode 4's whole story is basically, on one hand, Curly, Larry, and Zeppo are making a new plan, of some kind.
Well, I think Curly is now the leader, and he's making up a whole new plan.
Right. Slough House under Lamb needs to scatter, but not just scatter, but also because some of their members are still out there ignorant of like what's going down. Like, we need to grab them,
right,
and let them know what's going on. And then Taverner's boss has been made aware that some shit is going down, and she's coming home. So it's another she situation, because Taverner is what we call, or what the show calls, the second desk at MI5. Like, she's in charge while her boss is away, but now her boss is coming home.
Yeah. She's what they would call the first desk, but I guess her title's Director General of the Security Service.
Yeah, well, I think she's supposed to be the head of MI5. That's my that's my read on it. I'm not 100% sure, but I think those 3 stories. If what I want to do is check in with you on whether or not, like, if we talk about those 3 stories, do you think we can cover everything? Curly, basically Curly, Lamb, and Taverner. Could if we covered those 3 story lines, do you think
absolutely
we would have? Okay.
Yeah.
So I think we could.
I don't think Hobden has a storyline. He's just kind of a prick and kind of a catalyst. He doesn't.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't think he really has much of a storyline. I think those are the 3 main storylines.
Well, I mean, let's mention then really quick first before we go into the 3 principles. What happens with Hobden is he finally forces his way into being able to talk to who exactly?
James Webb.
Not James Webb. James Webb is Cartwright's nemesis. He's the blue shirt, white.
Oh, that's right. Oh, guy. No. Yeah, he's the HR of MI5 is what Cartwright calls him. What the hell is that guy's name? He's analogous to like a senator here.
The rich politician.
Oh, Peter Judd. That's right. His name's Peter Judd. Yeah. What the hell is his title? Peter Judd. I don't. Peter Judd MP. I don't know what that is, but I think it would be analogous to like a senator here, right? Isn't that what?
Something like that. He's someone. It seems to me that whatever his particular position is in the British government, he does have one. He's on TV a lot. You know, he's got a very public persona that he needs to protect. And he also seems like someone that, whether or not, you know, it's valid or not, like might have his eyes on the prime ministership sometime in the future of his career. So let's just call him the ambitious politician.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
And yeah, Hobden manages to, you know, actually get an audience with him, even though like all of Hobden's old journalist friends are saying like, "Oh no, you're fucking toxic. We can't talk to you."
Yeah.
And yeah, basically also get shut down like really hard. But our ambitious politician seems to gain a lot of information about this, and I don't yet know what ambitious politician's connection to any of this stuff is. But it seems to me like this scene or this sequence of scenes of Hobden and ambitious politician wouldn't exist unless there's some kind of importance to them.
Right, and the importance is the connection between the Sons of Albion. I see Hobden as kind of like, because he's discovered that the false flag, you know, every good spy story or conspiracy story or like, I don't know, corruption type of stuff. There's always going to be like a guy that figured out something that he shouldn't have, you know, and that's Hobden. He learned about the false flag op, and he's trying to reach out to all his right wing buddies and outlets that, by the way, there's this false flag op going on. We're going to lose some of our racist brothers and fuck the government, you know, type of thing. That's his prerogative. I think that's his. He's just there to be a catalyst. So that's the first, like, I guess, hurdle for Taverner's plan. But the fact that Curly goes rogue and cuts off Moe's head that's the second hurdle in the plan, and that's what really sets up the big story. Is we're gonna pin this on Slough House, and Slough House basically has to survive.
I guess I just wanted to ask the question, like, what is ambitious politician's win condition here? All that I see on paper, or all that I noticed, is he just wants Hobden to shut up.
Yeah, because Hobden has dirt on him. There's a picture of him with Simmons, I guess, and Simmons is
right. Yeah.
And that's what Hobden threatens. He's like, look, I don't want to threaten you with anything, but like we need to do this to save this or whatever, you know. And that's why what's his name? Judd is like actually even considering talking to Hobden at this point because he's got dirt on him.
Okay, so we don't think that right now. We don't. You said his name a second ago, Judd.
Peter
like
Judd.
We don't think Judd is connected to any of this.
I mean, he's like a right wing politician who has connections to some unsavory groups, and one of those would be Simmons. Simmons is a very well known, very well connected right wing extremist leader type, and one of those connections is the Sons of Albion. So I think he just wants
Simmons is not a prominent he's not as prominent or respectable a person as Judd. Simmons is like a shadow figure. I'm not sure if we've ever seen
Simmons is like a well-known extremist type guy. He's the one that's in contact with the Sons of Albion.
Right. So like maybe he's the kind of guy who was that one guy, the KKK guy that, you know, actually ran for president a couple times. You don't remember his name? I don't either. But like one of those guys, like, you know, yeah, he might have you know, had some interviews here or there, like been on TV, but he's not like issuing press statements like from a political office.
Right.
Or is he a total shadow figure?
I don't think they give into too much detail with him, but I know Peter Judd is aspiring to be. He is a politician and wants to keep that position in politics. So this dirt on him being connected to Simmons is a big stain for him. And if that information gets out, which is what Hobden is threatening, it'll hurt his political aspirations. So, yeah, I think you have it right that Simmons might be that guy that ran for president. Like he's just a well-known member of organizations that are not kosher as far as British government is concerned.
Right. Okay, so I do want to move on, but I'll just put my final pin on I don't understand why these scenes with Hobden and Judd exist unless they're going somewhere. I
Oh yeah,
wonder where they're gonna go.
there's
So I'll
stuff
just
from
leave
5
it.
and 6. Yeah,
Okay, so I'll
yeah,
leave it there. I'll leave
yeah,
it there,
yeah.
and then I think we could pretty quickly get through. Let's see who's left in the. Let's see, it's Mo that's dead. So Larry, Curly, and Zeppo.
Uh-huh.
Um, I don't know. They're off to. It just seems like the plan changes a lot. Like they're. On one hand, Curly's like, I don't know, the idea like that we were never gonna kill him. It's just like this fucking dirty MI5 guy got into our group, and so he had to be made an example of, and that's good enough for me. But then they kind of also make a plan like, well, we'll just drop the Hassan kid off, and then it's when Curly hears the guy. I don't know if it's Larry or Zeppo. They're interchangeable as far as I can tell. Say that he's sorry about what happened. That like Curly gets really mad again and like
Yeah,
fucking sorry. Like I'll
yeah,
show you fucking sorry, dude. We
yeah,
are all right. Fuck this. We are gonna kill him.
yeah.
Um,
Well, a lot of
anything
that
else?
plan was. I don't think any of that was really planned out. Like he realizes there's a traitor, he's going to kill the traitor. Now they're stuck in a situation where they got to get the fuck out of Dodge. So I think all of this is kind of like on the fly. And this dude just killed somebody, and he wants to be a true believer. And that I think was established with his arguments with Mo, because Mo is like, "Have you ever killed anybody?" Yeah, well, I was a soldier. I actually killed people. Blah 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 blah. All this other stuff. So it's kind of like I can see him just being an unstable character, and this kind of so much going on the fly, and he's not thinking clearly. He's just kind of making decisions as they come.
Right, and so like at this point, like a clearer thinking version of Curly might be like calling up Simmons. Like he has been contacting Simmons apparently
Well,
and
Simmons
saying
had
like,
told him to run. They find that out later, and they bitch out Curly that they thought Simmons had told them to go. But Simmons's orders was just let the hostage go and get the fuck out of there.
okay. So Curly's off the reservation. He's
Yeah,
off
Curly's
the
going full
Simmons.
rogue right now.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. So with that being done, Taverner, I suppose. Um, what's going on with her? She's basically it. Let's see. I'm trying to think of the analog here. It's I don't know. Mama's coming home, and when she comes home, she's gonna find that the house is dirty and that you've been throwing a fucking party that was not approved by Mama.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good way to describe it.
And I don't know. She sends. That's right. Well, okay. So and we'll get to and this is why Lamb smartly wants to grab all of his agents and get them off the board
Yeah,
because he knows Taverner's going after all of his agents as well. And she does manage to grab one of them
our pub
before
quiz guy.
before he can get to him. You wanna take that one a bit?
Struin
That's fun
is his
stuff.
name. Yeah, she grills the fuck out of him. I really liked watching this because Struin is such a easily swayed guy. He's not really picking up on what's going on. She's trying to get him to confess to something that didn't happen. And she's basically dangling, "Hey, wait a minute. You haven't told your wife and kids that you got fired, have you? You haven't told your wife and kids that this has been going on and this has been going on. You didn't tell them that you were being brought in to be arrested. You told them you had to come to work, didn't you? Well, what if I told you you could have your position back at Regent's Park?" I just need you to tell me, did you ever see Lamb with, I forgot it's Mo. We'll just call him Mo. But she uses his real name. Did you ever see him with Mo? And he's like, no, I don't think I did. Like he's so oblivious and so like innocent to what's going on. He's just being honest, right? And
Mm-hmm.
it's not until she's like, well, clearly you're not helpful. Oh, by the way, Standish just got brought in. She would be more helpful, till he realizes, oh, she wants me to lie. Like the light bulb goes off. Oh, she's asking me to lie about Lamb so that I could get my job back. And that's exactly what he does. He's like, oh, you know what? I kind of remember them seeing each other. I just don't remember what date. If you could help me grill my brain, I'll remember the date and time for you. And
Mm-hmm.
it's so funny the way she kind of talks to him. And it's like, it's just like child's play for her. You know what I mean? Because this guy is like such a pushover.
Right. Well, he's not just a pushover, but this is a guy that it's been established, and this is so brilliant about the show. This is the perfect guy because this is the guy that cannot understand social cues. He's got a low level of empathy. Not And by empathy, I don't mean that he doesn't care about people. I mean he can't read the room.
Yeah.
you know and that's been established, so he's got really like no idea what's going on, and that in this confused state, he's the perfect manipulation target.
Yeah. It's just pretty funny that he doesn't pick up on what's going on.
Right.
Like,
And isn't he the one that sent the inappropriate email?
oh yeah, that's why he's in Slough House. Sending the inappropriate.
Right, and it was supposed to be a joke. He made a joke about some politician wearing a hijab.
No. It's the head of MI5. It's the first desk.
Oh my
She had like a
God.
shawl, and he was basically calling her a terrorist on company email.
But he just thought, hey, isn't that funny? And dude, I sympathize. I have low empathy myself. I have a very strong inability to read the room, and I have sent some emails that I thought was funny, and been strongly told like that is not funny because I just didn't get it. So so that's her play to make sure that Lamb is going to take the fall. And then that also speeds in, I think, to like this confusion about like what's going on is something we see in a lot of spy movies and a lot of spy stories, and I feel like let's see, how do I want to phrase this? There's a whole lot of characters in this story that each of them has like a piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
And I've not seen that before. Like, compare it to just a straight up like fucking James Bond movie where like, I don't know, we don't know where the volcano base is. Eventually we'll find out, and then we'll, get captured, and then the villain will explain the plan. Like, there's a mystery that we kind of are, as an audience, we're kind of fed like, this is the mystery, this is what we know, and this is what we don't know. But in this show, what I love about it so much is everyone, including that guy, including Taverner, including that poor guy that is in Taverner's interrogation room, including Lamb, including Cartwright, including Standish, if I've got her name right, including Ho. Like, nobody really knows what's going on. Everyone's got different pieces of the puzzle, and that's where I want to get into like why I love this whole scramble, and why I just really was just riding hard for this show and cheering for it in this whole, Okay, everything just fucking exploded and is going crazy. And who do you trust? Like
Right.
Lamb's telling, like, take any single character and ask them who do you trust, and they all will have like a eh, can I get a lifeline
Right.
kind of situation. You know what I'm talking about?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Hmm. Like
No, that's a
how
good
much do you
point.
trust
Like,
how much do you trust Lamb at this point? Like pick any character. Just pick one at random real quick.
uh, oh, I think I trust Lamb the most. He seems to be like the like, uh, doing what's right type of thing, but he's just kind of a dick to everybody.
Sure, but
But
why?
he's like the hardened veteran. If I was to pick a team, I would definitely be on Team Lamb. I don't care how much of a loser he looks like. He has that
But
just
given
like mountain man. Like he's like the intelligence mountain man. If I wanted to go off grid, I want to be with Lamb.
I'll take Min and Louisa for example. Like,
Yeah.
he's suddenly like barking orders. Like, why am I sure that this guy who's just been nothing but an absolute fucking asshole to me my entire, experience with him,
Oh, that's what you're talking about.
like
Yeah.
why, should I trust him? Like
Yeah.
maybe this is a play. If I trust, like, the more respect I have for his tradecraft, the more I might be worried that, like, whatever instructions he's giving me, which he's shouting out a lot of instructions to different people.
Yeah.
He's saying, "You go here, you go there, we'll all meet up here." Blah blah blah. Um, like, am I the at any point, like, I've got to be terrified, thinking like, am I the fucking patsy?
Yeah.
Like, am I the one that is gonna like take the fall for all this? Think
Right.
about like Min and Louisa. I think
Yeah.
they have that conversation too, like while they're on their way to going where Lamb told them to do, and I think they come up with the conclusion like, look, we'll show up at the breakpoint. If we don't see Lamb there right away, then we're fucking out. You
Yeah.
know, like fuck him.
Yeah.
Um, it's all, I think, like, everyone in Slough House at this point has got to be wondering, like, who is actually looking out for me? And if it's not you, then maybe it needs to be me. And
Yeah.
maybe
Maybe I
I
need to
need to
start
be the
looking
one.
out for me. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Right.
What about Smee? Who's Smee? Smee's me.
I think it's fucking brilliant. Um
I love it.
I
Yeah. No, I love everything about this show.
I don't know how much detail to go into on that. I don't think I really need to, unless you have any to throw in. I think I can get out of here by just, underlining that is my
Yeah, me too.
hyper excitement level about this show right now.
Absolutely.
Like, you go.
There's just a couple little tiny pieces of tradecraft I wanted to point out.
Let's hear 'em.
Before Lamb knocks on the door, he spots a cat and stops to pet the cat, and takes that time to observe everything around him. I really, really liked that because it gives him a reason to be just standing in one place and looking around. Um,
I gotta tell you, I underlined that one myself. That actually felt to me so much like what I would do.
Absolutely, yeah. If I could find a stray cat or dog or whatever the fuck,
Mm-hmm.
anything to give me an opportunity to stop and look,
Mm-hmm.
especially before knocking on a door full of like right wing extremists with like a hostage. You know what I mean? Um, I definitely was. Yeah, I liked that. Um, after they find out the head's cut off, he immediately is like, "Everybody, give me your cell phones. We're going dark." I liked that. When Cartwright needed a car, and Ho couldn't get it
Uh-huh.
break in, he takes that guy's keys that has the Mercedes. He's like, "I'm going analog for this one." He uses a soda can to, because the guy puts the keys on top of and people do this all the time. Like I do this at the liquor store, and I need to stop doing it now that I've seen this. Um, you get out of your car, you hold on to your keys, and you're at the counter. You put your keys down to get your wallet out, and so this guy's got his Mercedes keys and he puts it, it's like one of those higher counters that are up to your head where they make sandwiches and shit. So he puts his keys on top. So what Cartwright does is grab like a Pepsi and then puts the Pepsi right next to the keys and goes, here, I'll get this drink. And that way he could grab the keys and the drink and then he takes off and the guy doesn't notice. I just wanted to highlight that.
Cartwright's got moves.
Yeah, he's definitely got some moves. So it's like we discussed this in the first couple episodes. It's kind of hard to discuss the tradecraft on this because most of the tradecraft is very quick and like small. It's this bigger chess game of the show that makes the intelligence of the show so interesting. So I just wanted to make sure we get to point out these little ones. You know what I mean?
Cool.
But yeah, go ahead with what you're saying.
Thank you for bringing me in. I got another few.
Oh yeah.
20 for the hat.
Oh yeah. When from the homeless guy. Yeah. That's right. I totally forgot about that. That was good.
Booking 6 flights.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And he knew that they would catch him on CCTV because it was like a public computer, right?
I don't know about that. All I know is like, I've just seen so many shows where they, the big Bourne supremacy kind of like machine, in their hyper tower of like, Apollo 16, fucking like command center, and they can see everything. It's like, oh, you just booked a flight to blah, blah, and then a flight to blah, blah. And then like, he just booked a flight to here. And they're like, great, we got him. Oh, well, he also booked a flight to here, and here. Never seen it before. I love it.
No.
Yeah. Buy those plane tickets.
Yeah.
And then, okay, I got one more, and this is not tradecraft, but this is just a tiny moment, which I really appreciated, which is, okay, so Cartwright has gone to visit Sid in the hospital, and now he's being chased by one of the dogs. And as part of his escape, he ducks into an elevator. There's a I don't want to say nurse.
Yeah, it was like a nurse and a lady in a bed that they're just moving him. It was like a guy nurse,
right?
And the lady in the bed, that he's moving.
Hospital staff, a member of the hospital staff, and a patient.
Yeah,
and he just asks them like, routine or emergency? And the guy says routine. He says, thank you. Boom, stops the elevator. He would, if it was an emergency, I don't know. It's just kind of cool. Like if it was like, if she was being transported to an emergency situation, he wasn't going to put her at risk to aid his own escape. But as soon as he found out, like, no, she's okay. She's just being transferred between wards. He's like, okay, awesome. In that case, I can absolutely stop this elevator.
Yeah.
It's just kind of a cool little detail. And also, like, I don't know. I like River Cartwright so much. I do.
Oh, no. He's a great character. Everybody, I think every character on this show is so perfectly, I guess, established because they really fill that character, that personality they are. You know what I mean?
I like the bad guys, too.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
The quote unquote, even the quote unquote bad guys like Cartwright's nemesis.
Yeah.
I love to hate him.
Yeah.
I don't need to see him like punched in the face and totally discredited at, in like end of Die Hard.
Right.
In a way, like when the reporter, like when John McClane's wife, like smacks him in the face. I hope I didn't go too far off the reservation there, but I like him in that super slimy kind of way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he's fun. This character, this show is all about like strongly sketching a large number of characters very well. So that like even just in a moment or a couple scenes, I mean, there was, like when the two characters, the black chick and the one guy, Min and Louisa, where they got a scene in episode 2 near the end of it of them having a beer together. I was like, what does this have to do with anything? It turns out to be important, and you can do these like nice just moments of it only takes a little if you're a really good writer, and I think this show is very brilliantly written in this way that it only takes like 1 or 2 scenes and only like maybe 5 to 8 lines of dialogue to let me know as the audience like who this person is.
Yeah.
And I feel like I know who everybody is. I don't necessarily know what they're thinking or what they're doing or what they want, but I know who they are. All of them. And when I say all of them, I think there's like 20 fucking characters. I know all of them.
Yeah.
I am absolutely loving this show. Get me off my horse.
Yeah.
And help me take it home. Let's get out of here.
Yeah. Well, that was episode 3 and 4. Next week, we're going to do episode 5 and 6. If you still haven't listened to us talk about 1 and 2, go back and watch that. You can find all our episodes on your favorite podcast app. Just search Spies Like Us podcast. And let us know if there's anything you want us to do, or, tell us you love us or you hate us. You can tweet us at spies_like_us or facebook.com/spies_like_us podcast. And we'll join you next week for episode 5 and 6.
The preceding transmission sampled the song Enter the Party by Kevin MacLeod and sound effects from freesound.org. Attributions and links are found at spieslikeus.net.